Hello, my name is Peter Sobrino, and I'm a student researcher for the Syrian Relief Refugee Task Force. And our topic today is the economy in refugee camps, specifically the Zataari refugee camp in Jordan. Since the Zataari refugee camp hosts most of Syrian refugees and now has become the fourth largest city in Jordan population-wise, how do we build a self-sustaining economy to ensure the survival of the refugees, given that the Syrian conflict has no ends in sight? Today, I'm giving a brief background on the economic situation in the Zataari refugee camp. The camp itself is home to over 122,000 people and has become so large it merits its own economy. According to the Middle East Research and Information Project, inside the Zataari refugee camp there is a bustling market district called Champs Elysees, where people can buy everything from food, blankets, diapers, to wedding dresses. Though many of the shops operate off of the black market, or rely on smugglers or scavenging to keep their businesses insulated from the cold, to provide power for them, and also to find supplies to sell. One UN HCR spokesperson says that in the camps, the aid workers would build a washroom, they'd build a bathhouse or something, and on Monday and on Tuesday the bathhouse would be torn down and cinder blocks and piping taken to the Champs-Élysées district for someone to build a new shop. Understandably, this frustrates a great many refugees, saying the UN has not done what they promised, and the UN is frustrated because the refugees are taking their hard-earned supplies and to use it for their own gains.
Hello, my name is Frances Asha. I'm a student researcher for the Syrian Refugee Relief Task Force. Today, I will be discussing a possible approach to helping Syrian refugees finance their businesses within the Zataari camp located in Jordan and why doing so is beneficial. The need for financing is great. Currently, many shops on the Champs-Élysées, a bustling market street in the Zataari camp, help keep their businesses afloat through not-so-legal means. Ratima, a relief worker, explains that many of the stalls are actually built from stolen communal property. To pay for basic business needs such as store space and resources to create products, financial backing of the entrepreneur is necessary. Even store owners who do not have to resort to stealing to obtain goods or tents could use money to expand and improve their businesses. For example, a Tev who runs a flourishing rental wedding dress shop out of a metal storage container on the Champs-Élysées could use money to get more of a variety of dresses, amenities within his shop like a fan, or perhaps to advertise in other ways besides the word of mouth. We can turn to microfinance institutions like the Grameen Bank for help. They can provide microcredit services to refugee entrepreneurs who would not usually be able to get a loan through a regular bank. They can then use the loans given to them instead of resorting to robbery that hurts the refugee community within Zataari as a whole and run healthy businesses. Loans help refugees become more self-sufficient and less totally dependent on the limited amount of aid that can be provided. Moreover, if store owners want to take their businesses with them outside of the camp when they find an apartment, they're going to need more money. Jordan is an expensive country. The Jordanian dinar is worth more than the Syrian lira. Again, loans by microcredit would greatly benefit refugee entrepreneurs in this situation. I propose a microfinance banking tent to be set up by the Champs-Élysées street, complete with bankers, consultants, and security.
Hi, my name is Megan Giovanetti, and I am the Assistant Team Leader for the Syrian Refugee Relief Task Force. In order to build a self-sustaining economy in the largest refugee camp of Zataari, it would be beneficial to establish forms of alternate energy sources such as wind and solar power. Creating these sources of energy will not only help sustain and build businesses in need of power and keep them running, but it will also create jobs for the need of running and maintaining these energy sources. Relying on alternative energy sources rather than fossil fuels will not only help the environment, but save money in the long run. It might take a bit of spending to establish, but over time these energy sources will be more economical than spending on oil. The UNHCR and NGOs need to help refugee camps help themselves rather than giving them handouts. However, by providing the Zataari camp with necessary funding and resources to build these power plants, they will in return help them establish a better running economy. After this first step, which is probably the hardest to overcome, the refugees can begin building the actual windmills and solar panels. This process will further help the economy by creating a massive amount of jobs for the refugees and struggling Jordanians alike, as well as ease tensions between the two parties as Jordanians argue over the Syrians taking over the job market. In order to promote entrepreneurship and the building of businesses to stimulate the economy, the people of Zataari need to feel confident that they can run an effective and safe business. Without a stable source of energy, this is impossible. Being the most densely populated refugee camp, a lot of energy is going to be needed. Our research team suggests that the establishment of these windmills and solar panels be planted just on the outskirts of the camp. This way it does not take up any living space within the camp, yet is still accessible to the employees. Being expensive to build and with the limited MGO resources, a minimal amount of windmills and solar panels will have to be built initially, just enough to provide an appropriate amount of energy. After the Zataari camp and its refugees have become self-sustaining with a more stable economy, they will be able to build more sources of power to build even more businesses and employ more refugees.
Hello, my name is Gabriela Rodas, and I'm with the Syrian Refugee Relief Task Force, and I'll be focusing on the need for vocational training within the Zataari refugee camp. There are well over 100,000 refugees currently living within the confines of this camp, and many of these Syrians are struggling to survive. As Zataari begins to look like a permanent home for these refugees, it is necessary for them to begin to form their way of life, especially since a vast majority of the refugees within this camp are under the age of 18. Vocational training is education that prepares people for specific trades. In a normal state, the process takes 2 years. However, according to reports by the South China Morning Post, current residents have begun their own businesses and gone into trade, such as trading livestock. Although their businesses struggle to stay afloat, they have been the source of jobs for many refugees. If a vocational training facility were put forth, it would stimulate the economy by creating jobs and ensuring the creation of future jobs. Syrian refugees could share their skills with others, promoting competition within a given job field. As people gain skills, attaining jobs will lessen the criminal activities that have been going on throughout the camps. Along with job creation, the skills attained range from baking to construction. By attaining skills, the improvement of their living conditions and the camp is imminent.
Hello, my name is Christian Militante, and I'm a student researcher for the Syrian Refugee Relief Task Force. According to statistics, children from ages 5 to 17 years old make up 35% of the Syrian refugee population in the Zataari camps of Jordan. These children, however, are struggling to cope with refugee life as tensions between themselves, their elders, and Jordanians continue to occur. One of the central issues of this are because Syrian children lack public education camps. There are about 15,000 children who are registered in the Zataari camp schools. However, because of overpopulation, lack of funding, and mentors, there has been a low attendance rate. One teacher mentioned that attendance had dropped to barely 2,000. This issue reflects security for children as they risk being abused, exploited, and early marriage, as well as turning them to illegal labor, ignoring the minimum age of 16 and Jordan's strict workers permit. We need to focus on children's education to help ease the tensions between Jordanians and Syrians because Jordanians need the same jobs that the children are taking up illegally. Studies and multiple reports have shown that those who attend school regularly construct a sense of self-identity and are empowered by knowing that they have rights. Children's rights discourse promotes social change and significantly shapes the minds of the youth. It is highly important to raise awareness of the youth in camps and to encourage children to attend school regularly. Education is vital because it helps build a bridge for refugee children to a higher paying occupation. If we hope on a better economy and a future for Jordan, we must focus our attention towards helping the youth and accommodating to their educational needs.
Hi, my name is Huyen, and I'm the lead for the Syrian Refugee Relief Task Force, and I'll be reporting on legal trade. Currently, the only option for electricity is just to run the pumps off expensive generators from the free public power supply, and so folks are forced to tapping into electricity of an Italian hospital nearby, and also help others to get free power. It supplies like $500 tent goes around for $100 in black market. Containers mostly donated by Gulf nations are being sold or acquired by gangs and are traded in informal property market or are being cut up and sold outside of the camp. and drivers trucking waters are intimidated, and their truck are hijacked and sometimes cause injuries, and are redirected to tanks that refugees have stolen or purchased for private use. In or near the tent and trailers. And according to REACH and ACTD, 8% of the household have private water storage. As a result, nearly a third of refugees have built their own bathrooms next to the tents, and the majority of them stealing metal sheets and cement blocks from public bathroom to do so. And UNICEF has estimated that it has lost about $1.3 million on damage to its water and sanitation facilities. Currently there are projects to strengthen the camp-wide network of pipes to carry water and to pump, and also projects on strengthening pumping equipment to the public power supply. But I think with the limited resources and investment in the camp right now, and desperation of people will be a persistent problem. And so I think this emphasis should be on educating people to work together. And so I would propose to canvass 10 to 10 to organize refugee about the collective interest of the whole camp for survival, safety, sanitary, given the outbreak of the measles and diarrhea recently, and especially elevating Syrian refugees delegates on these canvases, so that the canvas team of community mobilizers and aid workers doesn't look like outsiders to the people in the camp. This is, according to the indigenous leadership principle, but also, educate them, give them a sense of ownership of the collective facilities, and make them less willing to destroy what they themselves have built. Also, we should create refugee committees for each block that could responsible and oversee the operating and maintaining of the facilities. We can keep the current level of police control, but I don't advocate for additional personnel.